Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story, we're covering the Am I the Devil subreddit. I'm not sure I have to do the voice from Cuphead, or attempted at least. Am I the devil? The devil. Anyway, I'm getting carried away as usual. Let's just crack on with it. Now, the first story that made its way over to the Am I the Devil subreddit was from a deleted user who says, I think my wife is flirting with the mailman and have proof. She claims she is not and now won't talk to me. My wife and I are in our 30s. We've been married for 2 years. When we got married, we moved into a nice small house in the suburbs. Last summer, we got a new mailman who is objectively attractive. Not going into detail, but he looks good. Towards the end of the summer, I noticed my wife was almost always outside around the time he would bring the mail. Actually started tracking when she would go out on a spreadsheet. She averaged going out 20 minutes before the mail would get here. Obviously some variation as the mail didn't come at the exact same time each day, but it was weird. She would work on our front patio and then have a short conversation with the mailman. Then in about 7 minutes on average, she would come back inside and work from her office. Another thing I noticed is that our clothes seemed to change when she went outside. Almost 70% of the time, she'd have a tank top on and put a shirt over that when she came back inside. I didn't say anything as fall and winter came and we live in a cold climate, and so she stopped going out. Once in a while, she would go and say hi, but not like in the summer. She also gave him a very nice tip for Christmas, $250. I'd forgotten all about this until it started getting warmer out with spring. I couldn't do another summer of this, and so I decided to talk to her. Last night, I sat her down and showed her all the information from last year. I explained that I didn't feel comfortable with how much attention she gave the mailman and asked if she could not do it this summer. She didn't understand, or maybe didn't understand the numbers. She got very upset and started yelling that she didn't do anything wrong and just happened to be out there while he was there. I tried to show her the numbers again, but she got upset and slammed the computer lid on my finger. At that point, I was upset and walked out and went for a walk. When I got back home, she was gone and wouldn't answer her phone. She finally came home but wouldn't talk to me, slept on the couch, and I honestly didn't get any sleep. It's been a very weird day. She is only talking to me when absolutely needed. Otherwise she is distant and won't talk to me. Am I overreacting, or is this normal for women to talk with the mailman? I'm just trying to picture that scene where you come home from work and you're immediately greeted with an Excel spreadsheet of all your movements throughout the day. That's a bit unsettling, isn't it? It's one thing to feel insecure and have a conversation around it. What's not normal is secretly tracking your spouse's movements for months, calculating the average conversation lengths and logging her wardrobe changes at the same time. I mean, I was a little shocked at the $250 Christmas tip, but again, I don't know what it's like. If it says $250, I'm going to assume it's the US. I don't know if that's a normal thing. Mailman must be raking it in if that's the case. Someone has said to OP, you weren't wrong to notice or even be bothered by it necessarily, even if it's totally innocent. Maybe she's really excited about checking the mail or just enjoys talking and doesn't want to look like a bridge troll when she talks to people outside the house. It was really weird to whip out a spreadsheet and show you you've been documenting her every move and what she was wearing though. It comes off as a very aggressive accusation of infidelity. I'd be freaked out if my wife pulled out the documentation of my movements about the house and what I was wearing on a daily basis and feel very uncomfortable around her after that. Every time she looked at me as I passed by, I'd be wondering if she was about to run off to document it. Governor says, so your wife has a friendly relationship with a mailman and wears tank tops outside in the summer, and instead of speaking with her directly about behavior that made you uncomfortable, you waited a whole year and made a creepy spreadsheet about it to confront her with. Yeah, I'd be upset too. Commenter says, you even said during the winter time she doesn't continue this routine. Buddy, that right there should already tell you that you're obviously accusing her, because I'll tell you what, if a woman has interest, she will not skip any season. Honestly, I'd get the icks and file for divorce if my husband pulled out a spreadsheet with no valid evidences besides his own truth. Ew. One more commenter who says, oh my god, how on earth did you get someone to marry you? You kept the spreadsheet of your wife's movements. Then in a reply to a comment here, you said that if you hadn't documented everything, it would have been impossible to prove. Prove what exactly? That your wife spoke to the postman, that she wore sleeveless tops in the spring and summer, that she went outside the house during the day. When are you installing the hidden cameras? I don't care how hot you think your postman is. There's nothing going on except conversation. I'm glad your wife has someone normal to talk to. You are the one who is obsessed with him, not your wife. The only thing I would judge her on here is sleeping on the sofa. She should have made you sleep there and taken the bed. Opie added a little bit after the post and said, update, people are asking for an update. Woke up this morning and she is still pissed. I guess I'll just give her more time. Many of you really aren't understanding the spreadsheet. I used it to show that she went out right around the time the mailman got here. It was a way to graph averages and show consistency. I may have been wrong about the tank top. I do realize that she may have taken her top off because it's hot outside. Oh, bloody hell. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? And let's have another one, which comes from Typical Mobile 47, who says, am I the arsehole for planning to confess my feelings to my married manager? Oh, bloody hell. I, 27 female, feel like I am losing my mind. My best friend just called me delusional and threatened to distance herself from me if I go through with this, so I need an outside perspective. For my own sanity, all names have been changed. For the past year, I've worked closely with David, 38 male. He's the assistant manager at a retail pharmacy where I work as a pharmacy technician. He's married to Sarah and they have 2 toddlers. His locker is covered in drawings from his kids and he talks about his family constantly. On paper, he is the ultimate family man, but over the last 6 months, I feel our relationship has changed. It started in November when my dog passed away. He noticed I was crying in the break room, went down the street and brought me a vanilla latte and a muffin. He sat with me for 10 minutes and just listened to me vent. No one else at work even noticed I was upset, but he did. Since then, we've developed a routine. Whenever we pass each other by the stockroom, he gives me this specific warm smile. A few weeks ago, during a hectic Monday rush, I made a joke to a difficult customer that fell flat, but I looked across the pharmacy counter and David was smiling and shaking his head. It felt like an inside joke just between us. Then there was the team dinner last month at a packed, deafening restaurant. Because it was crowded, David sat directly across from me. At one point, the room got incredibly loud. David leaned all the way across the table to hear what I was saying. While I was talking, he looked directly at my lips, smiled and nodded along. A few of our co-workers at the end of the table actually stopped talking and just stared at us because it looked so intense. It felt like the rest of the room completely melted away. The biggest thing happened last Friday. We were staying late to finish checking in an inventory shipment. The store was closed, he walked over to check my progress, and he leaned over my shoulder to look at the terminal. His sleeve brushed against my arm. He didn't pull away immediately. He stayed there for at least 3 seconds before he clocked out. He looked at me and said, "Don't stay too late, Shelby. We need you around here." I felt a physical spark. I'm convinced that he is trapped in a passionless marriage, and his kindness is a subconscious way of crying out for a connection. He always remembers how exactly I take my coffee. Men don't pay that much attention to women unless they are deeply attracted to her. My plan is to ask him to grab drinks after our shift this Thursday and gently lay my cards on the table. I want to tell him that I know he feels the connection too, and that I'm willing to wait for him. My best friend snapped at me saying, "Shelby, he's a nice guy. He brought you coffee once. You're being delusional. Are you about to ruin your job based on a sleeve brushing against your arm?" Am I misreading this, or am I the arsehole if I say how I feel? Her best friend deserves some kind of award for trying to stop this shit show before it starts, because if she goes through without actually confessing her feelings, she's not just risking making him incredibly uncomfortable, she's potentially blowing up a job that she apparently enjoys over some fantasy that she's built over normal workplace interactions. He just sounds like he's being a decent manager and a kind person overall. Every single thing that she explained had an innocent explanation to it, and the sleeve brushing against her was just too much, and it went into, we somehow arrived at he's trapped in a loveless marriage and his subconscious is crying out for her. I was just like, what? But Love for Llama says, of course you're the arsehole. He is married with children. You have no idea about the state of their marriage. Your friend is right. You're delusional. You've created a narrative that doesn't exist. You have a crush, which is fine, but you need to get a grip and move on to someone who isn't married with kids. Commenter says, you're the arsehole. Your friend is right. You're delusional. None of the interactions you described indicate anything on his part. You're seeing what you want to see because you've developed a crush. He bought you a coffee once because he noticed you're upset. It's his job as your supervisor to manage you, and that may also entail your mood within reason. That act was within reason. The restaurant thing. Some people can read lips in close proximity if they know the context. He was probably doing that, and I don't think anyone was paying attention to you. They were probably looking at something else. The joke, if he laughed, then he laughed at a joke. No inside joke or anything, but it's possible it reminded him of something, and that's what he was laughing at. The arm brush. 3 seconds is nothing. He wasn't holding your hand. His arm brushed yours as it happens sometimes. The quote, "We need you around here." Yes, that's a line all managers say. You're not special, and his subconscious isn't reaching out because he's in a passionless marriage. If you can't stay professional, then look for another job, but he feels nothing to you. What you plan to do will definitely get you in trouble. Listen to your friend. That commenter touching on the whole lip reading thing, I'm exactly the same. I have to really concentrate in a packed place because I find my brain's trying to listen to multiple conversations, say in a pub or something like that. It's just listen to loads of conversations all the time, which I'm trying to work on in therapy, etc. The therapist says, as I've told you like a few times now, it's to do with the hypervigilance. But I really focus on people's lips when they're talking to me just to be able to hear what they're saying. I do find that helps. Let's have one more comment who says, "You're the arsehole. You've created a fantasy version of him. He's a married man with young children. He bought you a coffee, looked at you and brushed your sleeve, and somehow you've decided he's in a passionless marriage. This is limerence. It's not real. Are you willing to make your working life incredibly uncomfortable? Because that's where you're heading. Leave him alone and get some self-respect." Now, what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts, and let's move on to another one from the relationship advice subreddit from a throwaway account who says, "I, 25 female, begged my partner, 28 male, for an open relationship 8 months in. He left." I, 25 female, begged for an open relationship. 8 months in, he leaves me. 8 months ago, I, 25 female, asked my partner, 28 male, for an open relationship as I got bored with him. What? Nothing wrong, but he just didn't excite me much, and he agreed. But he proceeded to tell me that there's a catch. If he catches feelings for a partner, he's going to leave me for her. And that's exactly what happened, and I want him back in my arms. He left me for his new partner, 28 to 29-ish female. What can I do to win the love of my life back? Bloody hell, I've got no words, but there's an update on this one that says, I, 25 female, begged for an open relationship. 8 months in, he leaves me. Probably nobody asked for this, but here's an update. I was kicked out of his house last Sunday. That's 6 days now, and I excruciatingly miss him. I will do anything to get him to return to me, but he looks happy on social media with his new partner, and I'm pretty sure he was cheating on me with. Anyways, I tried calling him, no answer. I saw him in public, and he pretended not to even know who the fuck I was. He wouldn't acknowledge my existence. So I went to our former place just to talk, and things got hostile. His new girlfriend hates me for some reason. I didn't even know her, and she proceeded to try and attack me, while he tried to split us up and get me out the door. When he had his back turned, she maced me, and now he's trying to file a restraining order on me. The hell did I do wrong? She attacked me and pepper sprayed me. How can I convince him he's dating a psychopath? Update 2. 25 female, 28 male, my ex followed through with his restraining order on me. This will probably be my last update. The restraining order has been filed, and I am not allowed within 100 feet of my ex, Harry, and his new girlfriend, Jess. I'm planning to move back to my home in Arizona and start over. They're happy, and I just want to find peace with myself. Thanks for everyone's advice and opinions. Yes, I was already in therapy, and I'm still in therapy. Please, anyone my age or younger, listen to my advice. TikTok is not cool, please delete it. It's done me nothing but harm, and other people's stupidity can really poison your minds. I'm living proof. Thank you, take care. At the start of this, I was just like, why are you even in the relationship if you're bored? Why try and open it? Just end it and move on, right? But I mean, he was pretty upfront with you. He said he'd open it, but if he catches feelings, he's out, and that's exactly what happened. It's about as honest and upfront as you can possibly be. Bloody hell, I don't think there's much we can really say to this one, right? But let's have another one. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account and says, am I the arsehole for snapping at my half-sister when she called to say neither her nor my other sister will be attending my wedding after they both RSVP'd yes? Throwaway names changed. I, female 23, have 2 half-sisters, Molly, female 29, and Mary, female 33, from my dad's previous marriage. I wasn't close to either of them growing up because they mainly stayed with their mum, and we just generally weren't close. We're all nice to one another, but it's not buddy-buddy. I got married a few weeks ago and both Molly and Mary were invited. They both RSVP'd yes. Literally a couple of days before the wedding, Mary calls and says neither her nor Molly will be attending. I'm shocked because obviously all the catering, everything's been put in, and now 4 people won't be attending. They each had a +1. Mary did sound apologetic and she explained it to me, detailing a traumatic situation Molly's going through, and she will also not be attending and staying with Molly and their mum instead. I got upset and said that I understand, but if she can't just attend for a little while to support me, she can leave early if she wishes. Mary kept saying it's not possible, so I snapped and said how neither of them care about my feelings and the effort I put into this wedding, especially since Molly herself didn't bother giving me a call to let me know, and it's obvious that I was always the outside sister and not part of their group. Mary said I was being selfish and hung up the phone. I did tell some relatives the situation / who knew about it and got mixed reactions for going off at Mary. So, am I the arsehole for snapping because they didn't come to my wedding? So there was many people wondering what the actual traumatic event was, and sadly it was Molly's boyfriend had passed away in an accident a few weeks before the wedding. And as you can imagine, the comments just erupted after that one said, so you want a woman who by your comments just lost her boyfriend in a very tragic way to attend a wedding. Oh my god, lady, you have 4 open slots now, go invite some friends, if you have any. You're the arsehole. Commenter says, you're the arsehole. Do you realize that the boyfriend of one of your sisters died? You realize that she's grieving and in pain. You know that, right? You realize that this happened after they RSVP'd and was not on purpose to mess with your catering, or are you too self-absorbed? Well, we now get it why your sisters are cordial with you, but keep their distance. I just couldn't imagine having that kind of mindset when you know what's going on. There's just moments in life where whatever event it is, weddings, birthdays, holidays, everything else, just takes a back seat. And absolutely losing your partner is going to be one of them. And you would have thought OP would have been on the phone saying, look, if you can, I'd love to see you, but I totally understand where you're coming from. And if there's any other way that I can support you, please let me know. And another thing that, it's just like, really, is when they was mentioning 4 empty seats. Surely one of those 4 people was the boyfriend. I was just like, oh my word, really? Come on now. I mean, if she thought the relationship was very sort of on the edge as it was, I think she just put the final nail in it. But what do you guys make of that one? Let us know your thoughts and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story on the Am I the Devil subreddit was titled Gatekeeping the Term Family. But on the Am I the Arsehole subreddit is titled Am I the Arsehole for saying that a 2-person household was not a family? My stepdaughter's mother's house is very different from a normal household. She's very much a bare minimum kind of person. The only truly important things are work and school and appointments. As long as you're on time for those and doing well, have good hygiene and keeping your bills paid, everything else is pretty much optional and usually not worthwhile to do. Their house is 3 bedrooms, but it's small, and unless they happen to have a guest, it's just her and her mother. My stepdaughter's mother has a maid service come in once a month to do a clean because she's too busy with a standard 9-to-5 job. Her standards are basically just pick up after yourself, laundry once a week, do the dishes as they come in, and sweep and vacuum if you think it needs it. In an actual family, these standards would lead to the house being an absolute dump, but because a house is all of 2 people, the house is perfectly fine. Our family has 11 people, but my stepdaughter is here. My husband and I, our other 4 kids, my sister and her son, and my parents, so we run our household very differently. We have things like routines and chore lists. Aside from the past year, we have kids in sports. I'm sorry that we don't have a private bathroom for each person in the house and that we have actual tasks that need to be done in the house every single day and can't just get done tomorrow. She has never adjusted well in transitions and thinks we're strict for having actual standards. I'm sorry, but things are just not the same when it's 2 people versus a family of 10 or 11. It's not just do whatever like it can be with 2 people. After years of arguments, I finally snapped and told her I'm sorry she has spent so much time with an actual family. And now everyone is mad at me for not going along with the idea that a single woman with 1 part-time child is just as much a family as large, multi-generational family. I'm sorry, but it's just not, and I'm tired of being the bad guy about it. Commenter says to OP, you're the arsehole, you don't get to gatekeep what a family is. What a trashy thing to say to a child. And for the record, 11 people living in a house of undisclosed size, but there's not that many houses that can actually hold 11 people. It's called overcrowding. You need to get out of your delusional headspace if you truly think your household is normal. It's definitely not. I will happily live in my 3-person household. It sounds a hell of a lot better than living with such a miserable, spiteful, judgmental person as you. Commenter says, you're the arsehole. A single mother and her kid are absolutely a family. You could very easily have just explained that having so many people in the house means there's more maintenance that needs to be done. It honestly sounds like you're resentful of the way your stepdaughter's mother lives. You expect them to respect you and how you run your household, but you don't do the same for them. And one more commenter who says, you're the arsehole, yeah, you messed this up. The term actual family has no business being in your mouth. She and her mother are a family. Who the hell are you to gatekeep the term family? You took what could have been a productive conversation about differing workloads in different circumstances and turned it into you shitting on her and her mother. Yes, the stepdaughter should help out if she stays with you. Yes, her responsibilities will be different between the two households. You have absolutely no right to tell her that her other home isn't an actual family because they don't meet your subjective nonsense standards. You are absolutely the arsehole. And I was just left after that story just thinking, what were they trying to achieve? It just comes across as really bitter and spiteful in some ways as well. Because nobody was arguing that running a household of 11 is the same as running one of 2. Of course there's going to be more chores and more schedules and just more logistics overall. That's bloody obvious, right? But instead of coming into it with a conversation saying our household has different expectations because there are more people, she went with, you don't live in an actual family. Bloody well done. Slow clap to you. It's not going to make your stepdaughter suddenly start understanding chores, and it doesn't improve their relationship at all. You're just damaging it further. As I said, it just felt incredibly bitter, almost like she's got some resentment towards the bio mum's lifestyle. But again, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this one? And let's have one more story, which is titled, Wife 35 Female Wore a Bikini in Goa Without Telling Me, 35 Male. Can I start trusting again? Oh God. My wife recently went to Goa with her college friends. According to her, it was an all-girls trip. When she came back, she showed me a lot of photos from the trip, and she showed me a lot of photos in the clothes we bought together for this trip of hers. A few days later, I happened to see one of her friend's Instagram stories where she was wearing a big oversized t-shirt. It made me curious, so I checked a few more stories from her friends using her phone. Turns out she was actually wearing a 2-piece bikini underneath, and there were multiple photos and videos of her in a very revealing bikini. What made it worse was that I also found chats where she had specifically asked her friends not to tag her in any bikini pictures. When I confronted her, she said her friends pressured her into wearing it, and she didn't know how to tell me afterwards because she knew I wouldn't approve. She claimed she was planning to tell me eventually. I honestly don't buy that. Another thing that bothered me was that although she kept calling it an all-girls trip, I spotted a guy in at least 2 of her friends' Instagram stories. He wasn't tagged and I have no idea who he is. She says he was just someone from another group and I'm making too much of it. I would have told her not to wear a bikini if she'd asked me beforehand. I don't think there's anything wrong with a husband having boundaries about how revealing his wife dresses around random men. These days, people label every preference as controlling, but I don't think expecting some level of modesty in a marriage is unreasonable. I'm all for women having equal rights, careers, independence, and traveling whenever they want, but I don't believe parading around half naked in front of strangers is some symbol of empowerment. For me, though, the bigger issue is the deception. She hid it, selectively showed me only the covered up photos, told her friends not to tag her, and I found out by accident. She's apologizing to me every day now, but she's doing that because she got caught. I don't know what to do or say anymore. Commenter says on the back of this one, fellas, don't you hate it when your wife has a body and then she takes it outside the home? Seb says, you should divorce her so she can live her life. Why do you think her wearing a bikini makes it more likely for her to cheat on you? If you don't trust her to not cheat on you, then your relationship is already broken. Just wondering, when you go to the pool or beach, do you make sure to wear a shirt so as to be modest? And one more comment who said, good lord, I hope this is rage bait because you're about to get roasted in these comments. And absolutely that did happen, hence being on the AmITheDevil subreddit. But now I'm going to turn all these stories over to you guys. What do you guys make of these situations? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. Take care and much love.